It was a battle between the White Tower's strongest mages and demons from the demonic realm. The demons were led by the High Evil Priest, while the Mage Tower followed the command of Oscar Sage, a level 9 mage and master of the tower. Oscar was able to defeat the demons with the help of his disciples. But victory came at a heavy cost, the loss of countless disciples he had cherished. To make it worse, he was pierced through the heart. With the little time he had left, he told Edna to take care of the remaining disciples. Even in his final moments, he believed that, while he might have been a great mage, he was never a good leader. With that regret weighing on him, he passed away, and his exploits became history. But since this is a transmigration story, Oscar finds himself transported 20 years into the future. The real story begins when Oscar wakes up in a new body, stirred by a floating leaf petal brushing against him. He sits up abruptly, accidentally knocking his caretaker Frank, who spills water all over himself. Frank, completely soaked, is not pleased. He grumbles about Oscar's terrible sleeping habits and threatens to stop caring for him unless he fixes them. Meanwhile, Oscar's mind races. He wonders why he was sleeping so vulnerably and, more importantly, how he's even alive when his heart had been pierced by the High Priest. Before Oscar can make sense of anything, an angry, ill-mannered man barges into the room without knocking. Elder Maxim, Oscar's teacher. Frank tries to calm Maxim, but he's too furious to listen. Maxim vows to teach Oscar a lesson for being so pathetic. However, both Frank and Maxim freeze when Oscar asks why he's even alive. Maxim finds it ironic that Oscar realizes he should have been dead long ago. Oscar notices Maxim's robe and realizes he's a mage from the White Tower. He demands Maxim explain the situation in detail. Maxim, angry at being ordered around by such a clueless punk, raises his hand to slap Oscar. Seeing the slap coming, Oscar quickly casts Windshield, confident that Maxim's wrist would snap upon impact. He mocks Maxim mentally for acting without thinking. However, Oscar's expectations shatter when he sees his windshield weakening as Maxim's hand approaches. Confused and panicked about his weakened magic, he braces himself. Fortunately, the windshield is just strong enough to make Maxim retract his hand. Impressed that Oscar could even summon a windshield, Maxim decides to postpone any punishment for Oscar's embezzlement of research funds and tells him to focus on recovering. After Maxim leaves, Frank scolds Oscar for acting so rudely, especially towards someone as intolerant as Maxim, but Oscar barely hears him. Lost in thought about why his magic feels so broken, his mana circuits, quantity, and purity are all ruined. Desperate for answers, Oscar finally asks Frank for the date. Frank replies it's September 21st. Oscar tries to piece it together. The battle with the evil priest was on April 28th, meaning he should have been out for 5 months. Frank corrects him. He's only been unconscious for a day. This unexpected revelation makes Oscar even more suspicious. He orders Frank to call Lloyd, or if he's not available, Hila or Shasha, people he trusts to give him real answers. Frank, confused, informs him that mentioning those names is strange, because they're now considered traitors. Lloyd abandoned the White Tower to join the Red Tower, and Hila stole a high-level magic book and ran off. Only Shasha is worth mentioning. She is now the Mage Tower Master. Hearing this, Oscar gets annoyed at Frank's accusations, but when he notices Frank's sincerity, he realizes Frank isn't lying. The truth hits harder when Frank clarifies that Shasha is now 25 years old, not 5. Everything feels wrong. Looking at the window, Oscar catches his reflection and is struck with the realization the body he inhabits isn't his. As expected, Oscar has woken up 20 years into the future. In that time, the world has changed dramatically. Technology and industry have advanced at an incredible rate. Electricity, cars, and things that never existed before. All thanks to the magic engineering revolution. A faint smile crosses Oscar's face as he imagines how much his old comrades would have loved this new world. In the past, all people had left in their eyes was despair. Now, Oscar has more important things to do, like figuring out the owner of this new body. The body belongs to Oscar Crucian, who was taken into the White Tower at the age of 10. Now, at 20, he's a level 1 mage from a fallen noble family. At least the guy has a good-looking face, but his abilities are Pathetic to 20 years, old and still stuck at level 1. As for why Oscar Crucian collapsed, the truth is embarrassing. He embezzled research funds to buy an illegal elixir, hoping it would boost his mana. Instead, he passed out immediately after drinking it. It's no wonder the elixir was illegal. If it had worked, his mana would have multiplied several times. If it failed, his life would be in serious danger. Frank said he was unconscious for a day after taking it. But even if that potion had worked, the original owner of this body should have already died from Amon's outburst. Then he notices something strange. This body has way too much mana for a level 1 mage, and more importantly, it's pure mana, completely unrefined. It's ridiculous to think that all of this is just because of a cheap, illegal elixir. The older owner chugged down. Then suddenly, black gunk starts forming inside him, condensing in the middle of his chest, and before he can react, that black substance moves. It travels through his body, pulling at his fingertip before dripping onto the ground. The moment it touches the floor, it starts melting it. Well, it's poison. At first, Oscar doesn't understand why there's poison inside him, but then everything falls into place. First off, he has to admit that the illegal elixir wasn't a hoax. It was the real deal, a proper elixir that would normally cost a fortune. But the problem is that Oscar Crucian didn't know that the elixir also contained poison. In other words, he didn't die from a mana outburst. He was murdered with poison, and this poison is not an ordinary substance. It's so ridiculously potent that it's overkill for a weak level 1 mage like the previous owner of this body. If it weren't for Oscar possessing this body, no one would have ever figured out the real cause of Oscar Crucian's tragic death. He still has to figure out who was behind this assassination attempt. But for now, he decides to push aside all these worries as he's got something to celebrate. After all, he has been granted the second chance at life, the one he had wished for before he died. So now in this life, he vows to restore the White Tower to its former glory. Not only that, he's also going to live the perfect selfish life he had long been denied in his previous life. He also does not forget to express his gratitude to the original owner of this body. So as a final tribute, the least he can do is avenge the poor guy by taking down the bastards who plotted his death.